See them now?
Just about.
Just.
I'll put them in.
Yeah, that's it. That's it.
Otherwise nobody know what we're talking.
No.
Right, so what we've got here, we've got Pro Bond, which is your primer. Okay? Then you've got your Pro Base, which is like a resin base. And it's the same with all the different ranges, they've all got this, right, so they're all the same. Then you've got your activator, which actually is what sets the powder and your Pro Base on the nail. So your activator sets it, right? And then you've got your top coat, okay? This is called Pro Cleanser, and this one, if your brush goes hard on your resin brushes, because the activator sets the resin, so if you've got any wet resin, any wet activator still on the nail, and you go over with your Pro Base brush or your top coat brush, the brushes will set.
Yes.
So that's when you use your Pro Cleanser, you put that, say you put that brush into there and that brush into there, so at least you can carry on with the nails.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
So basically this is what you've got. Now they're all the same, they all work in exactly the same way. Okay? So that's all your products that we've got there. Alright? Now all these bottles are about £7 each. Okay? That's your activator here. Now here's another activator, which is from JK Nails, and this is called Sealer Dry, okay, but it's the same stuff inside that bottle,
Okay.
right? But these are only £5 each, so it's a good saving, and you're going to use lots and lots of activator.
Okay.
Okay. This is a Simply Dip just clear powder, okay, and we're going to use this to actually build up for the extension so it doesn't snap off. And we're also going to use it as a base underneath the colour powders. Okay? So, this is your powder. So I'm just going to move these all out of the way for a moment because... So here's our powder. Now, your powders will, when they're sitting on the shelf, will settle down. So you want them to be loose inside the pot. So here's your powder. Now you can see it's full to the brim. So it doesn't spill everywhere. It's a good idea to tip some out if it's a new one. And just keep that to one side. Because otherwise you'll find that when you dip in, you'll spill it all over. Now, you can also stir it to make sure it's really nice and loose inside that pot. Now, it's a dipping system, but it's not a dip. Okay? It's more of a scoop through like that. Okay?
Yeah.
So every now and again you will need to stir it to make sure it's nice and loose. So here's our powder here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to get the Pro Bond. And this is our primer. So give me a hand here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to... This one's a tip, isn't it? Yeah. It's hard to tell now because they're all blended. So I'm going to get this. I don't need loads, right? But I put this on the nail, natural nail section, because the tip came up to there. On the natural nail one, which is this one, I'm going to do the whole nail. Okay? And you just go along all your nails like that. Right? Now I'm going to get the Pro Base, which is your resin. Right? And this basically is like a glue kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to get this now. And I'm just going to get this. Now this is a tip, so I need to build up some strength in it. So I'm going to go in the top of the bottle like this. And I'm going to go down the centre of the nail. Okay, halfway up.
Yeah.
See that?
Yeah.
And then I'm going to go into my powder. Tap it. And then, if they were all tips, I'd now do the next nail with the centre, dip, tap, and I'd go along the whole hand doing that one stripe. Okay? Now I've got my brush here because there's loose powder on here. So once I've done them all, this has now had, the powder's now had chance to settle into that base. Okay? So now I'm just going to dust off the loose powder. Now I'm going to do it very, very gently, so I'm barely touching the surface. Right?
Yeah.
Now I'm going to put my next layer on. And I'm going to go 3/4 of the way up. But this time I'm going side to side. See? So once I've gone over it, I am going to make sure that it's all level and it hasn't dried up on me next to the skin. Then I'm going to go into my pot again, tap it, and I will do that throughout all of the nails if they were all tips. Right? The powder is now settled into that base a little bit, and I will now just dust off the surplus. This time I'm going to go all the way to the back, up to the cuticle, but don't overlap the skin anywhere. Okay? Now I'm going to go back over it just to make sure that that layer is even on the nail. And then I'm going to dip it again. Tap, tap, tap. And I will do all the nails. Okay. Now it's had a chance to settle in. I'll just dust off the surplus very, very lightly. Okay. If it was a longer nail, I may put another layer on, just to give that added strength. Okay. And especially if I was just going to gel polish the top of this, I want it just that little bit stronger.
Yeah.
Especially if it's longer. If it's short like this, it doesn't really matter. Okay. Now I'm going to get my activator, or sealer dry. Now the activator sets this and this on the nail. So I'm going to come out of here. I'm not going to wipe it on the side at the bottom. Just come straight out, and then I'm just going to go that like that on the nail. Now, a mistake people make is they don't use enough activator. They wipe it too much on the bottle, and then there's nothing goes on the nail. This activator has got to penetrate those layers of product. That's why you can't just wipe it on the side and expect it to penetrate through all those layers. If it doesn't penetrate all the way through, it's going to be soft underneath. And then if it's a long nail, what can happen, as the flexing up and down on the front of the nail, it can crack across there or start to lift. Okay, so that is now tip, ready, done, finished. And all you've got to do then is to just get your file, tidy up the sides, make sure your end is straight, go over with your rough side of your block, dust it off, and then you can apply your gel polish in the normal way.
Yeah.
But if you were going to use a dipping colour, you'd then dip it in the colour.
Yeah.
Now you only ever want one layer of product at the back, so that when you apply your colours, it's not all going to start going thick at the back, because you want it thin at the back then.
Yeah.
It doesn't want to be a big step there, does it?
No.
Now with a natural nail, I've already put my bonder on. Okay, so with a natural nail, what I'm going to do is this. I'm going to get my Pro Base, top of the bottle like this, so I'm taking some of that product off, and I'm going to go 3/4 of the way up the nail. Just like this. And once I've gone over, I'm going to go back over to make sure it hasn't dried at the sides. because the heat of the finger can dry it up. And then I'm going to go into here, dip in, tap in, and then if you want to, say it was a really weak, thin nail, right? And of course you do that on all the fingers, you don't just do one, all one hand. I'm now going to go back on with my Pro Base, but I'm going to go all the way to the back. Again, just making sure that I don't go over the skin in anywhere. Then I'm just going to go back over it to make sure it's even. And then I'm going to dip it. Tap, tap, tap. And I do all the nails. Dust it off lightly to get rid of that surplus powder. See, I'm barely touching that surface. Then I'll get the activator, bring it straight out and seal it.
So with our own natural nail, you only dip twice?
Yeah. In fact, you can just dip once.
Oh, okay.
Put 3/4 of the way up.
Yeah.
But if the nails are like really weak and thin, you can just give them a little bit of extra strength.
Okay.
Okay? And again, you know, make sure you do seal it properly or activate it. And then you just, when you come back now, you will just file the sides, straighten up the edges, and then you'll do your colour dip. Now obviously if you're doing a gel polish, there's no point in doing that.
No.
Is there? On natural nails, you just use your base coat, colour coat, top coat, and that's it, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes people have got really weak nails. You might think, do you know what, I think I'm just going to put one layer of that under, or 2 layers.
Yeah.
Just to give the nails the strength to stop them flexing.
Mm.
And then what happens is the gel polish flicks off, or it chips, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So basically that is how you do it. Now if you've got somebody who's got natural nails that are really flat, there's no curve to them at all, they're just flat. Normally you put a gel polish on, but they still look flat.
Mm.
So what you can do that 3 system, one halfway up down the middle, dip, 3/4 of the way up side to side, dip, all the way to the back, dip, right, seal it, and then at least those flat nails will now have some shape.
Mm-hmm.
Because the one halfway up, down the centre, gives you your curve this way. The one 3/4 of the way up, side to side, the whole nail, gives you your curve this way. And the one all the way to the back, just make sure that you've got stuff on the back.
Mm-hmm.
But you only ever want one layer at the back.
Yeah.
Okay, do you get
Mm-hmm.
it? So you can give flat nails some shape.
Yeah. And if they just doesn't want anything on and they just want it like that, what do you put on at the end? Just your top coat as normal?
Yeah.
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 Okay.
Right, so what you're going to do now is you're going to do all these nails.
Okay.
Okay, so once you've got all the thing, it's all dried out and whatever, you just file the sides like this. Just tidy up the front in case it's just gone out a bit. Get your block. Just go over with the rough side of your block and then just smooth it out like this. And then it's ready for your next stage. Now, at this stage now, you could put a gel polish straight on the top of this.
Okay. So you would need a base?
I use base coat, yeah.
Oh, you would?
Put your base coat under the lamp,
Yeah.
colour coat under the lamp,
Yeah.
colour coat under the lamp, top coat under the lamp, wipe off the sticky layer if there is one. Because there are some top coats that are non-sticky.
Yeah.
Okay? So, what we're going to do now is actually, I'm going to show you how to do a white French. Okay? So, we've got a little gadget like this, and you see there's a slope on there.
Mm-hmm.
When the powder's in, you're going to slide your finger down the slope. Okay? Or to be more correct, you're going to move this up to the finger. So I'm going to go like this. Okay?
Yeah.
Get that, slide that up to the finger. Okay? So first of all we need some powder in here, don't we? So I'm going to get a white powder, which I've never used before, but let's see what it's like. So we get some powder in here. Okay, there it is. And basically we're going to put the resin onto the nail. We're going to make sure this is level. We're going to get the finger and we're going to bring that up. And there's your white tip. Okay?
Yeah.
Now, white tips look nicer on shorter nails.
Yeah.
I never think they look good on
long
nails. These little gadgets here are £2.20 off eBay.
Oh, okay.
I'll give you the details of where to get these from.
Yeah.
Alright? So we also need our clear powder, which is this one here, that we used before.
Mm-hmm.
So, oh I see, you put it back in, I'll tip a bit out. You've been very helpful, aren't you?
You're learning the world, yeah.
So, we need our activator, and we need our pro base. So, here we'll pop that there. So this is what I'm going to do, just relax for me, okay? So what I'm going to do is just get this, I'm going to put it over the whole nail. Whole nail. Make sure you get these corners. Because you don't want gaps at the corners, okay? Just go back over to make sure it hasn't dried up at the edges. Just make sure there's no nonsense. For some reason I've got the shapes there. I never had any breakfast this morning, so I'm going to get this, move this up to the finger. Okay?
Yeah.
And then I'm going to go into this over here. Tap, 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 tap. Okay?
Yeah.
Now, sometimes you do need to do a second layer. So I'm just going to go onto this again. And you'd go along really and do all your first layers of your white, so it's got time to dry a little bit, right? The second layer. I'm just going to go up to there. And then I'm going to go into here. Okay, and then I would go along them all because I want this time just to dry out a little bit and settle in.
Okay.
So there's my brush. So now I'm just going to dust off that surface very, very gently. Now I'm going to get my Pro Base again. Keep the brush really flat. And just go on the nail. Keep the brush flat, not right, flat. Just go across the nail. So you've got like a coating on there, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm going to activate it. So I'm just using the activator now just to set it. And when that's dry, I can then tidy up the edges, buff over the top, and then we just top coat it.
Right.
Okay? So what you're going to do now is do this one here.
Yeah.
But don't forget, a few practices first. Get that level, and then just go slide it down until you get your white tip, and then just tap it gently, and then it's into there. Okay. Now the reason you put it into there after you've done that is because when you put that layer on there, you're going to have a ridge, aren't you? So there's resin at the back, so when you dip it into here, it levels it all out.
Right. So you know your base, your Pro Base. Do I do it as a curve or do I do it as a
No, you
flat?
do the whole nail.
Oh, the whole nail, right? Okay.
Just paint the whole nail. but go back over it to make sure that these corners here, which is nearest the skin,
Yeah, I do.
has not dried out.
Okay.
Because otherwise you'll dip and you'll have a big gap here.
Okay.
Where it hasn't picked up the powder because it's set.
Yeah.
Okay. And then once that's there, we can do the edges, buff over, and then we can top coat it. But we're not going to top coat it. What we're going to do then, I'm going to show you how to remove it, the colours off tips. Okay? With the electric file. Okay? So that's what you're going to do now, is do that one. Just have a few practices first, moving this up to the finger, not the finger into that.
Yeah.
So you need to pick this up, get it level, look in the pot, and just move that up to the finger. And then you go straight into here. Okay?
Yeah.
And just give it a little tap or a tap. And then we put the second layer on. But when you put the second layer on, make sure you don't press too heavy on and keep the brush flat.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
And then it'd be same again into there, and then one more, tap it, and normally you do more nails, so that would be dried out a little bit, and then you'd be able to dust off just slightly the surplus powder. Then put on your Pro Base again, and then set it. So basically it's Pro Base, dip in, same again, and then Pro Base, and then just seal it.
Okay. So I dip twice.
Most people tend to dip twice.
Yeah.
Some people try to get away with one dip.
Yeah.
But in a way, it's better to dip it twice.
Right, okay.
But obviously, you've got to go up to the line that you did before.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
So have a go. Now, if you mess it up,
Yeah.
don't seal it, just file it off back to that. Because
Okay.
it'll all still be soft.
File it with the
Yeah, fine. Because it'll all be soft.
Okay.
It's only if you mess it up completely.
Okay.
It'll all be soft, so you'll be able to file it off. Because once you've sealed it, it's going to be set, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
Then it'd be more difficult to get off.
Okay.
Alright, but you're only going back to that.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
Alright, so once you've got your stuff on, then you just need to tidy up the edges like we did before. Just check that. And then you can, with the smooth side, you can just file over if you've got any lumps on there, lumps or bumps. And then you can just go over with the block, like this, just to smooth it out. See that there?
Yeah.
I normally have to do another dip.
Yeah. And paint it on again.
Yeah. Just go over like this. And that's ready to top coat. If you want to see what it looks like with the top coat on, you can just get some alcohol. And you can just wet that nail and you can see what it's going to look like with the top coat on. See?
Oh, okay.
Looks nice, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Okay. So 3 weeks later, somebody comes back in. They may have had a colour all over that, or they might have had a gel polish on, or they might have had a dipping colour on. Okay, but it's grown out to about here, right? So the best way is with the electric file. So you get your electric file. This is only on tips.
Yeah. No.
With natural nails, you'll be soaking off and starting again every time. So we put this one on, we switch it on, and we bring it up at about 3/4 on the speed. Now I'm going to hold it right at the base just like before, okay? And I'm just going to take off the colour. Now obviously it's come to about there, so you haven't got to worry you won't be worrying about the back section. So you can see how tough it is. And to get the colour off the whole nail, if you've used a dipping colour, you will have to drill it, right, or use the electric file. Because you can hand file it, but it's because it's acrylic, it's so tough that you'll be filing forever.
But you can use your drill on the gel nails as long as they've got tips on as well.
Yeah, so this will fetch all your gel off and it will come off really easy. Because it's just gel. So you can see I'm just taking all that off. Just going to thin it down a bit at the back here. So there we've got pretty much all of it off. There's a bit there I'm going to get off with the hand file. Right? I'll switch this off. Don't forget it's grown part way down the nail because it's an infill. Okay? So now we get this. This is a fine one. That was more coarse. So where the join is here, you might need to just blend it down a bit. Okay? Because you'll have maybe a little ridge. But don't forget, when you do this, you've only got one layer of powder at the back.
Okay.
So there's hardly anything there to file, is there?
No.
So I'm just going to take that little bit of white off that corner there, or the colour, if it was a colour, off with my hand file. It takes a bit of filing to get that rid of that. And just make sure the shape's there. The customer may say, oh, can you just shorten them for me? Or whatever. Right?
And you just do that with the drill? Shorten them with the drill?
No, don't shorten with the drill.
I mean, sorry, with the file.
Hand file.
Yes.
Yeah, hand file. So you just bring them back into shape. Okay? Now, as I said, you'll have that little gap there. So you can get your hand file and you can just blend it down a little bit. Well, because when you use the drill, electric file to go over, it can put like marks down the nail.
Yeah.
So you need to go back over with your hand file.
To get the marks out.
Just to level it all off and make sure it's dropping nice into the edges here like this. You might just need to blend down that little back section there where it's grown out to here, you see, if you need to. And just go over with this. So now we've got that done, but we've got this gap at the back. Okay. So what you do now is you get your cuticle pusher and you push back the cuticle like you did in the very beginning. Okay. Then you'll get your fine sanding band on a very slow speed and clean up the new bit of nail. Okay.
It's alright, don't worry.
Clean up the new bit of nail. Okay? Then, what you do then is you get your Pro Bond or primer, whatever system you're using, and you go along the back. Okay? Then you get your base and you go along the back where the gap is. And then you dip into your clear powder, tap it, and then you use your activator to seal it.
Do you only dip once then? With
Yeah, because you only ever want one layer of powder at the back. Okay? Now when it overlaps, after it's set, when it overlaps, which it will do, all you do is just get your file and just blend that down into the nail so it's all one nail again. And that's your infill. Now you'll find with these dipping systems they don't lift.
No.
They're really good. Okay. And then you just reapply your gel polish or your dipping colour. Alright?
Yeah.
So that covers that as well. So you know how to do that.
Yes.
It's on your instructions anyway. Alright, so we've got our powder. Again, we must make sure that the powder's nice and loose in there. Okay? Because you don't want it to, you don't want the nails to meet a resistance when you're going in. Okay. So we've got our base. Oh, we need our clear as well. Where is it? Clear. Sorry? Yeah, I've got it. Clear or clear. And we just need something to apply that clear with, so I'm just going to get this, make sure it's dry. It will be by the time it is. Right, so, obviously you'd start with the little finger and work your way along. Okay, I'm just starting with this finger because this is what I'm doing. So I get my Pro Base, either side like this, look, so I don't get too much on the brush. I'm going to do the whole nail. Right back to the cuticle and to the sides. Do this side. Then we're just going to go back over it actually. Go back over it to make sure that it hasn't dried out. I'm going to go into here. Tap, 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 tap. Okay. Now I'd go to my next nail, next nail, next nail. Then I would just dust that off lightly. Now anywhere it hasn't picked up, it's either because there was no resin there or it's dried. So on my next layer, I can just catch that area there. Don't get it over the cuticle at the back like I just did. Okay, if you do, make sure that you get it off before you dip. And what I'll do, I'll just go along the back like that, okay? And then I'll just reapply. If you overlap the cuticle, it's going to look a mess. And just keep your eye out as well for any corners where you didn't quite catch it. Make sure there's none on the skin, okay? And then we're going here again. Tap, 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 tap. Okay. Let that settle in. You can work your way along the nails. Let that settle in. And then you just dust off the surplus. Sometimes you need more than 2 layers, but generally speaking you try to get it on in 2, okay? Okay, now I've put the pink on there, but I'm actually going to put the glitter over the top of that.
Okay.
Now if it does start getting a bit thick at the back, we'll thin it down later with the electric file. Just gives it a bit of a
Yeah.
safe.
Yeah.
Okay, now you could obviously put another one, but I think that's enough. So once I've done that, I'm happy with the base, the way it looks and everything. Actually, I wouldn't take too much of it in this case. I'm going to pop this onto the top here. And I want to put this clear powder on, but I'm not going to dip the finger in because all the loose powder can just kind of like, if there's powder underneath there which is coloured, it can kind of like all get in your pot.
Yeah. You don't want it all different colours.
No, exactly.
Like grey, I should imagine.
Well, you could have bits of glitter in there and all sorts. So I'm just going to get this now.
So what have you put the white out before then?
I put the clear over,
So clear.
just so that it protects all the surface. Right, so now I'm going to get this, go over the top like this, with the activator. Make sure you put enough on for it to penetrate all those layers. This is a little bit heavy at the back, I'm going to smooth that down. Okay, now when you're doing colours over tips, it is going to be a bit thicker in its look than if you just done it straight on the natural nails, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Because it'd be the same if you did an acrylic nail and then you put a gel polish over the top. It's going to look thicker than if it was on a natural nail, isn't it? So you have to set that, but we are just going to file that back down a bit later. Okay? So there's our nail done. So I would actually do that now on all the nails. Okay? Now when you come to dip the thumb, this is really difficult to do. Put it in this hand and then you'll be able to go straight in. Okay? Alright, so we've prepped all the nails now and we've now got them to this situation where we're going to put the top coat on.
Yeah.
Okay? So what we need is the activator, and we need a little piece of paper. A little piece of paper is quite important. So here's the activator, and we've got our top coat somewhere. Top coat. Okay. Now, the one thing you've got to remember with this top coat is that it is an air dry top coat.
Yeah.
It's not going to go under the lamp.
No.
So you can only stroke it so many times. Like a normal top coat, air dry top coat. If you stroke it too many times, it's going to drag in it because it's going to dry.
Yeah.
So you can only stroke it so many times. So we're going to get the activator. We don't need too much on there, and I'm just going to go over the nail like that. I'm going to go across all my nails that I want to do. In other words, go up, just go all over, right? And then when you come back to the beginning again, you're going to get your piece of paper, which is like soft tissue, and you're just going to wipe off any excess activator. Okay? Because you don't want to touch this nail with wet activator on there with your brush. Because this, the activator sets the gel, the top coat I should say. Okay? So it will make your brush go hard. Right? So if your brush does go hard, then you need to soak your brush in your Pro Cleanser. That's what gets the hardness back out your brush. But they've all got one of these, all the different brands have got that. Right. So I'm going to get my top coat now, and we're going to wipe it off the one side of the brush, and then I'm going to go on in here in quite quick, just like 4 strokes. Don't worry if you miss a bit. Now the reason I went across in like 4 strokes is that I don't want to leave that brush on that nail surface for too long, just in case there was a little bit of activator still there, right? Although there shouldn't be, but you never know, right? So now that's on there, I will then come back and put on the second coat. You haven't kind of got to wait. Once you've done the morning, you just come back and do the second coat. So now I can be a little bit more choosy how I place it on. Because I've already got that one protective coat on there, haven't I? So you just put this on like you would put a gel polish on. Except don't stroke it too many times. So that now has got to air dry. And it will take up to about 8 minutes, roughly, to fully dry. Then once it's fully dry, you're just going to put your cuticle oil all the way around the outside, and then the nails are finished. Okay?
Yeah.
So that's basically what you're going to do now, is put your top coat on. So if you got it, thin coat of activator on all your nails, wipe them in a forward direction. Don't scrub at them, just wipe them in a forward direction to take any excess off.
So do the activator first.
Yes.
Then wipe.
Yeah.
Then top coat.
Then put your first layer of top coat on.
Yeah.
without kind of like rubbing it into the surface.
Mhm.
Okay, so it's just 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and then you'll come back and do your second coat. But you can now be a little bit more careful. So when you're taking your top coat off your brush, just take it off the one side so you've got that bead on the other side to apply.
Okay.
Okay?
Lovely.